Chosen ones, your isolation has a purpose, the spiritual truth behind your loneliness. Chosen one, you didn't stumble across this message by coincidence. Heaven appointed this moment long before you click play. The weight you've been carrying, the silence you've endured, the deep ache inside your spirit, it has all been building toward this very revelation. You've tried to understand why your path feels so narrow, why your presence in certain rooms feels suffocating, why the noise of the world rattles your soul in ways others can't comprehend. You've questioned your own heart, wondering why, even in a crowd, you feel unseen, untouched, unknown. Let me tell you now, with the fire of God's truth in my voice, you are not broken, you are not lost, you are not forgotten, you are chosen. God has set you apart, not to punish you, but to prepare you. The separation wasn't rejection, it was protection. That deep sense of not belonging was never about something being wrong with you. It's because there is something right within you that the world cannot hold. You carry light, and light was never meant to hide in the shadows of the crowd. This world is loud, confused, desperate for truth. But you were not built to echo the noise. You were called to be a voice crying out in the wilderness. You were called to be a remnant, a royal priesthood, a vessel through which heaven would pour out truth in a time of great deception. The path of the chosen is narrow, lonely, and often misunderstood, but it is holy. And now, it's time you understand exactly why you were called out of the crowd and into consecration. Section 1. Why you felt different your whole life. From the very beginning, there was something about you that never quite fit. You tried to blend in. You followed the motions. You laughed when others laughed. You stood where they stood. But deep down, there was always a quiet knowing. This is not my place. The crowd could never cradle your spirit. Their conversations felt shallow. Their ambitions foreign. Their distractions never distracted you. And no matter how much you tried to silence that inner pull, the tug never left. You were different, not by choice, but by divine design. God marked you before you were formed, before your mother even knew your name. Heaven had already spoken destiny over your life. The fingerprints of the Almighty were etched into your soul. There's a reason you couldn't go where others went. There's a reason your peace was disrupted in places where others found comfort. You carry a frequency that can't be diluted by the mundane. Your spirit rejects what is counterfeit. That's why the crowd never felt right. Because you weren't created to follow, you were born to lead. Many around you may have called it being too quiet, too deep, too sensitive. But in truth, it was always a higher level of awareness, a sensitivity to the unseen. You could walk into a room and feel the undercurrents of tension, fear, envy, or sorrow. You saw beneath the masks before you even had the language to describe what you felt. That's not a weakness. That's discernment. That's not strangeness. That's spiritual clarity. You might have wondered why friendships never seemed to last, why relationships felt strained, why people misunderstood your intentions. It's not because you were flawed. It's because your soul was speaking a language others hadn't yet learned. The light in you confronts the darkness in them. The truth in you unsettles the deception they've grown comfortable with. That's not rejection, that's revelation. From a young age, you've been navigating rooms where you felt like a visitor, not a resident. You've watched others form bonds that seemed effortless, while your heart remained on the outside looking in. And you asked God, why can't I connect like they do? Why do I always feel separate? Hear this now. God didn't create you for connection with the masses. He created you for communion with Him. You were born to walk closely with the divine, to carry a mantle that requires consecration, not isolation for the sake of loneliness, but separation for the sake of holiness. You've always felt different, because you are different. And that difference isn't a burden. It's a calling. It's evidence that heaven sees you. It's proof that you were never meant to blend in, because your spirit was fashioned to stand out. This world trains people to conform, to seek acceptance, to earn validation from the crowd. But God placed His Spirit in you so that you would never need their approval to walk in your purpose. You felt different your whole life because you've been chosen your whole life. And now, the time has come to stop fighting that truth. Embrace it. Own it. Rise into it. Because your difference is not your weakness. It is the sign of your divine assignment. Section 2. The hidden battle of energetic misalignment. There's a reason your spirit feels uneasy in crowded rooms. It's not social anxiety. It's not emotional instability. It's not you being too sensitive. It is a divine alert system built into your being. It's a spiritual response to a misalignment that goes far beyond what the eyes can see. When you walk into a space where the atmosphere is filled with confusion, pride, bitterness, or spiritual slumber, your soul reacts. It recoils. It shuts down, because what's around you is not in agreement with what's within you. You are carrying light. You are carrying frequency. You are carrying heaven's sound in a world that often dances to a different rhythm. That is why the laughter of the crowd can feel like noise instead of joy. That is why surface-level conversations feel exhausting. That is why you leave certain environments more drained than when you entered them. You are not just physically present, you are spiritually absorbing. And when your spirit is surrounded by energies that are unclean, unhealed, and unaware, it begins to send signals: fatigue, headaches, anxiety, the need to escape without knowing why. God has elevated your sensitivity for a reason. He's allowed you to see what others overlook, to feel what others dismiss. Because you are not here to conform. You are here to confront. And confronting doesn't always look like speaking. Sometimes your very presence, your silence, your peace, it disturbs what is counterfeit around you. That's why certain people pull away from you. That's why some relationships ended without explanation. Your frequency convicted what they didn't want to face. This is not rejection. This is spiritual separation. God is not allowing just anyone to walk closely with you, because not everyone can carry what you carry. Some people are drawn to your light, but they have no intention of protecting it. Others are offended by your presence, because without saying a word, your spirit challenges the darkness in theirs. You are a mirror, reflecting both beauty and brokenness, and not everyone is ready to see what the mirror shows. When your frequency rises, disconnection is inevitable. It's not that you're better than others. It's that you're becoming more aligned with God, and anything not aligned with Him will either fall away or be refined. That tension you feel in some environments, that's heaven shielding you. That uneasiness when certain people enter your space, that's discernment, not paranoia. The Holy Spirit in you is alive and active, warning you before your mind even catches up. You've wondered why your circle keeps getting smaller. You've questioned why people can't seem to stay. You've cried out to God, asking if something is wrong with you. But the truth is, God has been filtering your life, not as punishment, but as preservation. He's been tuning your spirit to a higher frequency, and everything that cannot harmonize with it has to go. It's not personal, it's prophetic. You are not wired for chaos. You are not made to dwell in confusion. You thrive in clarity, in peace, in the presence of the Most High. That is why your environment matters. That is why your connections matter, because every spirit carries a sound. And if you're not careful, their noise can drown out the voice of God in your life. That's why God has been pulling you away. Not because He's finished with you, but because He's just getting started. The quieter your life becomes, the clearer His voice gets. You are not just different. You are divinely calibrated, and the misalignment you feel is not a curse. It is confirmation. Your spirit is rejecting what doesn't align with your assignment. You've outgrown the noise, the drama, the shallow, the surface. You're being prepared for something deeper. And as your frequency shifts, so will your surroundings. Let it happen. Let the divine misalignment continue, because what's falling away is making room for what's meant to stay. Section 3. Divine isolation. God's hidden strategy. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when the silence becomes deafening. Friends grow distant. Invitations stop coming. Rooms that once felt familiar begin to feel foreign. And suddenly, you're walking alone, not because you want to, but because everything around you begins to fall away. What you need to understand is that this isolation isn't a detour. It's the strategy of heaven. God is not punishing you. He's protecting and preparing you. The chosen are always called into solitude before they are sent into service. You may feel like you've been forgotten, but in truth, you've been hidden from distractions, hidden from spiritual attacks, hidden from voices that would confuse your clarity. This is the sacred space where God speaks, not in the noise, but in the quiet, not in the crowd, but in the secret place. Think of Moses, who was raised in Pharaoh's palace surrounded by opulence and power, but it was not in the palace where God called him. It was in the wilderness, alone, with nothing but sheep and silence. It was there, in obscurity, that the voice of God called from a burning bush. Elijah, too, had to flee into a cave. Jesus, before stepping into his public ministry, withdrew to the desert to fast and pray. The pattern is clear. Isolation precedes elevation. This season you're walking through, the loneliness, the stillness, the silence, is not aimless. It is ordained. God is stripping away everything that cannot go with you into your next season. He is silencing the noise so you can hear his voice. He is separating you not to break you, but to build you without interference. You've been asking, why can't I find my place? Why can't I find my people? But the truth is, God is trying to become your place. He's trying to show you that the companionship you crave from others can never compare to the communion you were designed to have with him. He's teaching you to lean not on the comfort of community, but on the presence of your Creator. You are being fortified in private for a purpose that will be revealed in public. This isolation has not been easy. You've cried, you've wrestled, you've begged God for answers. But in the silence, he has been shaping you. In the quiet, he has been molding your character. You are not waiting. He is working. Every unanswered call, every door that didn't open, every connection that faded, every gathering you were excluded from, it was all divine. God has been removing distractions before they could destroy your destiny. You may feel lonely, but you are never alone. Heaven surrounds you. Angels are assigned to you. The Holy Spirit dwells within you. This is your consecration season. And consecration always feels like isolation to the flesh, but to the Spirit it is the greatest gift, because in the silence your discernment sharpens. In the stillness your purpose becomes clearer. In the absence of applause you hear the voice that truly matters. Let go of the need to explain your distance. Let go of the guilt for protecting your space. This is your sacred season. God has closed doors not to withhold from you, but to preserve what he's doing within you. You are being set apart, not cast aside, hidden, not overlooked, prepared, not punished. And when the time comes, when the appointed season arrives, the same God who pulled you into the shadows will bring you into the light, not to be seen for your glory, but for his. So do not despise this isolation. Embrace it. Lean into it. Let the wilderness teach you what the crowd never could. You are in the hands of the Master, and he is not finished with you. In fact, he's just getting started. Section 4. Spiritual sensitivity, the gift and the burden. There's something sacred about the way you feel. Something holy about the way your heart catches things no one else notices. You don't just hear words. You feel the truth, or the lie behind them. You don't just enter a room. You enter its atmosphere, and your spirit begins to interpret what the natural mind cannot. This isn't a personality trait. This isn't emotional fragility. This is spiritual sensitivity, and it is both your greatest strength and the heaviest cross you carry. God has entrusted you with a depth of perception because your calling demands it. You're not just meant to exist in this world. You're meant to see beyond it. While others move through life numb to the spiritual realm, your eyes are open. You sense things. You discern shifts. You feel burdens that aren't even yours. And sometimes, that sensitivity can feel overwhelming. You absorb the emotions of others. You weep for things you can't explain. You carry weight you can't identify. And yet you still press forward, because deep down you know it's not just a feeling, it's a calling. This is why crowds exhaust you, why small talk feels empty, why you crave silence, stillness, and space to breathe. It's not because you're antisocial. It's because your soul is tuned to a frequency that can't tolerate noise without meaning. You walk into environments and feel heaviness before a word is spoken. You pick up on hidden pain behind forced smiles. And though no one else acknowledges it, your spirit knows it's real, it's spiritual, and it's pressing against your peace. God gave you this gift to guide you, to protect you, and to lead others. But like every sacred Sikh, it must be guarded, because your sensitivity also makes you vulnerable. When left unchecked, it opens the door to emotional overload, spiritual confusion, and physical exhaustion. You've likely walked away from conversations carrying pain that wasn't yours. You've left rooms feeling drained and didn't know why. That's because you weren't just listening. You were absorbing. This is why the Most High often calls you into solitude. Not to isolate you from love, but to insulate you from what would harm your soul. In stillness, your spirit is cleansed. In quiet, your discernment is refined. Every moment you spend alone with God is not wasted. It's maintenance for your gift. It's rest for your heart. It's clarity for your calling. Because when your spirit is sensitive, the world becomes louder, heavier, and more difficult to carry. You were never meant to take on every burden. You were never meant to absorb every wound. Your heart may be open, but your boundaries must be firm. God is not calling you to save everyone. He's calling you to walk in wisdom, to give only where He leads, to speak only when He prompts, and to guard your peace as a sacred treasure, because your peace is your power. It is the ground where God speaks to you, the place where your discernment flows. Not everyone will understand the way you feel. Some will mock your sensitivity. Others will take advantage of it. But you must remember, your ability to feel deeply is a reflection of God's heart within you. Jesus Himself wept. He felt compassion. He withdrew from the crowds to pray. He carried the burdens of those around Him. But He never allowed those burdens to define or defeat Him. He moved with divine timing, divine strategy, and divine boundaries. And so must you. This sensitivity you carry is not weakness. It is holy. It is heaven-sent. But to steward it well, you must protect your environment, your energy, and your heart. You must discern not only who you let close, but how much you allow them to pour into your space. Because some come to be healed, but others come to feed, and not everyone is sent by God. So if you've ever felt like your emotions are too much, your spirit too open, your heart too raw, know this: God made you this way for a reason. You are not too much. You are enough. You are equipped. But you must also be wise. This gift must be nurtured in solitude, sharpened in the secret place, and preserved through intentional living, because what you carry is rare, and rare things must be guarded with reverence. Section 5. The purpose of separation. You were not born to blend in. That ache you feel in your spirit when you're surrounded by the noise of the world isn't discomfort for no reason. It's your soul crying out for alignment with the truth of who you are. God did not call you to walk the wide road. You were destined for the narrow path, the road fewer choose, the one that costs more, but leads to glory. Separation has always been part of the process for those who are marked by God. There's a divine reason why you don't move like everyone else. You were never meant to. God didn't breathe life into you so you could live a life of imitation. He breathed purpose into you, and purpose demands purity. It demands clarity. It demands distance from anything and anyone that would dilute what you've been called to carry. This is why he has pulled you out from the crowd. This is why doors closed, why connections faded, why the rooms you used to be comfortable in now make you restless. Heaven is not allowing you to settle where you no longer belong. You've tried to explain yourself. You've tried to apologize for your distance, but God is calling you out of explanation and into obedience. You don't owe the crowd your presence when God is calling you into His presence. There is a mission on your life, a sacred responsibility that requires focus. Not everyone will understand your shift, but then again, they're not supposed to. You are called to be set apart, not in arrogance, but in alignment. The separation is not rejection, it's preservation. God is shielding you from influences that would suffocate your calling, from relationships that look good on the outside but carry hidden decay, from patterns and places that would lull your spirit to sleep. He loves you too much to let you compromise your destiny for the comfort of companionship. You were not made for popularity. You were made for purpose. Section 6. The warfare of the called. The enemy doesn't waste time attacking those with no assignment. The fact that you felt so much resistance, so many battles in the unseen, is not proof that God is far. It's confirmation that heaven has marked you. Spiritual warfare surrounds those who carry spiritual authority. You have felt opposition not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous to the darkness. Chosen one, you must understand that your life is not casual. It is a threat. The light within you exposes what others try to hide. The truth in your voice confronts the deception in their systems. The purity in your walk convicts what's unclean. And this is why the warfare intensifies every time you step closer to your purpose. Every time you fast, every time you pray, every time you try to move forward, something pushes back. But what's pushing against you is afraid of what's rising within you. You weren't designed for easy. You were designed for impact. And impact requires resistance. The higher you climb, the thinner the air. The closer you get to destiny, the more violent the pushback. This is the cost of the calling. And yet in all this you are not alone. Heaven is backing you. The same God who called you is the one who arms you. He is your shield, your fortress, your covering. This is why God limits your exposure. This is why He pulls you out from environments where the warfare would be too strong. Some people invite battles into your life simply by being connected to them. Some atmospheres stir confusion in your spirit, and so God, in His mercy, has removed you. Not because you were weak, but because your mission is too important to be delayed by unnecessary warfare. He is training your hands for battle and your heart for discernment. Every trial has been preparation, every loss a pruning, every silence a strategy. You are in a war, but you are not without weapons. The word is your sword, prayer is your power, holiness is your covering, and obedience is your shield. You will not just survive this, you will overcome, because the one who called you is faithful, and He wastes nothing, not even your pain. Section 7. Protecting your sacred energy. There is a cost to being chosen, and one of the greatest costs is your energy. You do not have the luxury of being careless with your presence. You are a carrier of something sacred. Every room you enter shifts because of it. Every person you encounter is touched by it, whether they realize it or not. This is why your peace is often disturbed in certain conversations, why your spirit shuts down around certain people. It's not judgment, it's preservation. God has placed something holy inside of you, and not everyone is qualified to have access to it. You are not called to be available to everyone. You are called to be obedient to Him. Your energy is an assignment. Your presence is a ministry, and this is why boundaries are not optional. They are spiritual warfare. You cannot pour endlessly without refilling. You cannot continue healing others while ignoring the depletion happening within your own soul. You must guard your heart, guard your mind, guard your spirit. You must become ruthless about your peace, not out of selfishness, but out of stewardship. The oil you carry is not cheap. It was crushed out of you through pain, through pressure, through prayer. And you must not cast your pearls before swine. There will be people who try to draw from you, but never pour back. People who love what you carry, but not support the weight of it. People who admire your light, but walk in shadows. And if you're not careful, they will drain what took you years to build in God. This is why the Holy Spirit whispers, no, when your flesh wants to say yes. Why certain doors close no matter how much you knock. God is not keeping good from you. He's keeping what's holy within you protected. Your peace is prophetic. It is your compass. Pay attention to when it leaves. Pay attention to the unease, the restlessness, the confusion. These are spiritual signals that you are stepping out of alignment. You must never trade clarity for company. Never trade purpose for presence. If it costs your anointing, it's too expensive. Let them call you distant. Let them say you've changed. They don't understand what you're carrying, and they don't have to. Section 8. Divine timing. When God will reveal you. There is a season for separation, and there is a season for revealing. You have been hidden, not forgotten, delayed, but not denied. The silence was not a sign that God walked away. It was a sign that He was working, deeply, intimately, powerfully. And when He is finished preparing you, He will bring you into the fullness of your calling, not a moment too soon or too late, but in perfect divine timing. God's process never wastes pain. Every lonely night, every quiet season, every tear that fell when no one knew it all mattered. It all built something eternal within you, something the world can't give, and the world can't take. You've been in the background, but God has been building you like a house with deep foundations. And when He lifts the veil, when He opens the door, when He says now it will be clear to everyone that your elevation was not man-made, it was heaven-ordained. You do not need to chase opportunity. You do not need to push your way into rooms. You are not missing out. You are being positioned. And when the time comes, your preparation will meet your purpose. You will walk through doors that no man can shut. You will carry weight that only comes from walking with God in the secret place. And you will move with authority, not because of titles, but because of trust. God's trust in you. You've been wondering when it will be your time. You've seen others step into their season and asked God, when is mine? Hear this now. Delay is not denial. God has not overlooked you. He is refining you. The greater the calling, the deeper the preparation. What is on your life requires stability. It requires maturity. It requires you to be so anchored in Him that when the winds of attention come, you are not moved. When He reveals you, it won't be for applause. It will be for assignment. It will not be about platforms. It will be about purpose. And everything you went through in the quiet will make sense in the light. You will understand why the journey had to be this long, this lonely, this intense, because He was not just preparing you to be seen. He was preparing you to stand, and stand you will. So hold on, chosen one. Your season of silence is sacred, and your revealing is near. Conclusion: you were set apart to rise. You've walked through fire, and yet you are not burned. You've endured silence, and yet your spirit still sings. You've been hidden, isolated, misunderstood, and set apart. But you are still here, still standing, still seeking, still listening for the voice of the one who called you. That alone is proof of the mark on your life. Chosen one, this world was never designed to hold what God has placed inside of you. That is why you've felt the disconnect. That is why your soul has been restless in rooms that lack the presence of God. That is why you've cried out in the quiet, wondering if anyone sees, if anyone hears, if anyone understands. But there is one who has seen every tear, one who has counted every lonely night, one who has never taken His eyes off of you for a single moment. God has not overlooked you. He has not forgotten you. He has not set you aside. He has set you apart. You were pulled away from the crowd, not because you weren't enough, but because you carried too much light, too much depth, Too much truth for spaces that have settled for shadows. Your presence was never meant to entertain. It was meant to awaken. And awakening always begins in the hidden places. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. In the hands of the Master, under the shadow of the Almighty. Being shaped in silence for something sacred. You are walking a road that few are willing to take, but it leads to a glory that few will ever see. Do not shrink back. Do not apologize for your distance. Do not explain your peace. Do not silence your discernment. You were never meant to be understood by everyone, only to be obedient to the one who called you. And he has called you higher. He has called you deeper. He has called you into places that require your full surrender, your full focus, your full fire. There is a reason you cannot be around too many people. Your spirit is too open, too pure, too sensitive to carry their weight and still run your race. God is preserving you for those who are ready to receive what you carry. And when the time is right, He will bring the right ones into your life. Not to drain you, but to walk with you. Not to pull you back, but to push you forward. Until then, stay close to Him. Stay hidden in Him. Let Him finish the work in the secret place. Because when He reveals you, it will not be for attention. It will be for impact. You will not come out of hiding to be seen. You will come out to be sent. Sent into dark places to shine. Sent into broken places to heal. Sent into empty places to pour. But you will not go out empty. You will go out full of fire, full of wisdom, full of heaven. So hold your head high, keep your oil full, keep your altar burning. You are not just anyone, you are chosen. Chosen to carry the glory, chosen to break chains, chosen to walk differently, speak differently, love differently, chosen to be the answer to someone's cry, chosen to rise. And rise you will.